rainy day outside, but we can still do some learning inside. So what we're going to do today is we're going to read this story, which we've already read once this year, but we're going to visit it again and do some different activities. So we're going to read our story, Officer Buckle and Gloria. And I know when we read the story at the beginning of the year how much you loved it, and you picked it back up in our library hundreds of times to read it. So we're going to read this story again today, but instead we're going to do some different activities with it. Also, one thing that we're going to do while we read this story is we're going to work on our author's purpose. Now remember, we've done this several times throughout the year. We know that authors always have a reason that they write a story. One of the reasons was to persuade, which means you're going to try to, the author's trying to convince you to do something or convince you to believe something. They're trying to persuade you. The author can be trying to inform you, which means they're trying to teach you something or give you facts. And then entertain, which means the author is trying to make you enjoy what you read. After we finish reading this story, we're going to try to decide what the author's purpose was of writing this story. So our story was written by Peggy Rathman, and it's called Officer Buckle and Gloria. This page right here, this is it's the inside page of the book. It's got all the different safety rules that Officer Buckle does with his speeches. Officer Buckle knew many more safety tips than anyone else in Napville. Every time he thought of a new one, he thumbtacked it to his bulletin board. Safety tip number 77, never stand on a swivel chair. Tell someone in your house, why do you think Officer Buckle made this safety tip? Never stand on a swivel chair. Officer Buckle shared his safety tips with the students at Napville School, but nobody ever listened. Sometimes there was snoring. Afterward, it was business as usual. Mrs. Topple, the principal, took down the welcome banner. Never stand on a swivel chair, said Officer Buckle, but Mrs. Topple didn't hear him. Then one day, Napville's police department bought a police dog named Gloria. When it was time for Officer Buckle to give the safety speech at the school, Gloria went along. Children, this is Gloria, announced Officer Buckle. Gloria obeys my commands. Sit! And Gloria sat. Let's see if Yossi, here's Yossi right here. I don't know if you can see him or not. No, you won't be able to. But look right here. Do you think that Yossi would make a good safety dog? I don't know if he would or not, because he doesn't obey my commands very well. But he's sweet. Say hi, Yossi. Yossi can sit and shake, but he's not as good as Gloria. Officer Buckle gave safety tip number 1. Keep your shoelaces tied. And the children sat up and stared. Look at the illustration on this page. Why did the children sit up and stare? It's safety tip number 1. Officer Buckle checked to see if Gloria was sitting at attention, and she was. Safety tip number 2, said Officer Buckle. Always wipe up spills before someone slips and falls. The children's eyes popped. Officer Buckle checked on Gloria again. Good dog, he said. Officer Buckle thought of a safety tip he had discovered that morning. Tell somebody at your house, what is Gloria doing that's making the children stop and stare? Look, I think you can see Yossi now. Let's see if he'll sit. Hey, Yossi, come here. Sit. 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 I don't think he's going to. Shake. 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 No. He's a stinker. Never leave a thumbtack Buckle grinned. He said the rest of his tips with plenty of expression. The children clapped their hands and cheered, and some of them even laughed until they cried. Officer Buckle was surprised. He had never noticed how funny safety tips could be. After this safety speech, there wasn't a single accident. Why do you think that there were no more accidents after this wonderful speech that Officer Buckle and Gloria gave? Who was the star of the speech? The next day, an enormous envelope arrived at the police station. Okay, that word enormous. I want you to use your context clues and use your illustration. What do you think that word enormous means? You're correct. It means huge or very, very large. It was stuffed with thank you notes from the students at Knapville School. Every letter had a drawing of Gloria on it. Officer Buckle thought the drawings showed a lot of imagination. Dear Gloria and Officer Buckle, thanks for coming to our school. You are nice. Your friend George. Look at all those letters. That was a very kind thing for the students to do. But Officer Buckle's favorite letter was written on a star-shaped piece of paper. It said, "You and Gloria make a good team. Your friend, Claire. P.S. I always wear a crash helmet. Safety tip number 7. Officer Buckle was thumbtacking Claire's letter to his bulletin board when the phone started ringing. Grade schools, high schools, and daycare centers were all calling about the safety speech. Officer Buckle, they said, our students want to hear your safety tips, and please bring along that police dog. Officer Buckle told his safety tips to 313 schools. Everywhere he and Gloria went, children sat up and listened. After every speech, Officer Buckle took Gloria out for ice cream. Officer Buckle loved having a buddy. Then one day, a television news team videotaped Officer Buckle in the State College auditorium. Make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen now that the TV stations are recording Officer Buckle and Gloria? When he finished safety tip number 99, do not go swimming during an electrical storm, the students jumped to their feet and applauded. Bravo! Bravo! They cheered. Officer Buckle bowed and bowed again and again. Look at Gloria. That night, Officer Buckle watched himself on the 10 o'clock news. Look at Gloria. What do you think Gloria's thinking? The next day, the principal of Knapville School telephoned the police station. Good morning, Officer Buckle. It is time for our safety speech. Officer Buckle frowned. I am not giving any more speeches. Nobody looks at me anyway. Oh, said Mrs. Topple. Well, how about Gloria? Can she come? Someone else from the police station gave Gloria a ride to the school. Gloria sat on stage looking lonely. Then she fell asleep. And so did the audience. After Gloria left, Knapville School had its biggest accident ever. It started with a puddle of banana pudding. Splat! Splatter! Sploosh! Everyone slid smack into Mrs. Topple, who screamed and let go of her hammer. I want you to talk to somebody at your house. Why do you think the biggest accident ever at Knapville School happened the day after this speech? Josie. The next morning, a pile of letters arrived at the police station. Every letter had a drawing of the accident. Officer Buckle was shocked. Do your shocked face for me. At the bottom of the pile, there was a note written on a paper star. Officer Buckle smiled. The note said, "Gloria missed you yesterday. Your friend, Claire. P.S. Don't worry, I was wearing my safety helmet. Safety tip number 7. Gloria gave Officer Buckle a big kiss on the nose. Officer Buckle gave Gloria a nice pat on the back. Then, Officer Buckle thought of his best safety tip ever. Safety tip number 101. Always stick with your buddy. I want you to talk to somebody in your house. Why do you think it's important to always stick with a buddy, no matter where you go? It could be in school, it could be on a field trip, it could be somewhere in a store. Why do you always need to be sticking with your buddy? I hope you enjoyed our story today, so let's think about what our author's purpose would be. I want you to decide, and I want you to tell someone at your house. Do you think the author's purpose of this story was to persuade us, inform us, or to entertain us? Remember, persuade means to convince us or make us believe something. Inform means to teach us something. Or entertain, which means that the author wants us to enjoy what we're reading. So I want you to tell somebody what you think the author's purpose of this story was. I personally think that it could be 2 of these. I think the author's purpose was to entertain us because this was a funny book. We saw Officer Buckle and we saw Gloria performing speeches, and the kids were laughing, which entertained me. But I also think the author was trying to inform us about how important staying safe is. So, you've got 2 activities to go along with this story today. Your first activity is going to be on Google Slides. This will be on your Google Classroom. On your Google Slides, you're going to have 3 questions to answer. Your first question is, if you could make any safety tip for Byers Dowdy, what safety tip would you make and why? That will be slide 1. Slide 2, what was your favorite part of the story? Slide 3, you're going to give me 5 adjectives to describe Officer Buckle and 5 adjectives to describe Gloria. Remember, an adjective is a describing word. So if I would pick an adjective to describe Officer Buckle, I might use the word brave because he is a brave person for being a police officer. If I were using an adjective to describe Gloria, I might use the word silly because she does a bunch of silly things. So those are 1 adjective, but you're going to do 5 adjectives for Officer Buckle and 5 for Gloria. Your other activity that's going to go along with this book is going to be a kindness challenge. We know at Byers Dowdy that one of our goals is to always be kind and to perform random acts of kindness for people in our community or people that we love. So, in Lebanon and in Wilson County, we have a group of police officers and a group of sheriffs that are very, very important and help keep us safe. No, they don't come to our school all the time to do speeches, but we do have a sheriff, Officer Johnson, at our school that's always there to keep us safe. So, what your kindness challenge is going to be is you are going to write a thank you note to an officer. It could be a police officer or it could be a sheriff. And you're going to draw them a picture. So I want you to write a thank you note to them, and I want you to draw a picture for them, and then you can ask your family if you can deliver it to the police station or to the sheriff's station. Don't go inside because we're still practicing social distancing and we want to be safe and stay healthy. But you can knock on the door and deliver it, or you can put it in the mailbox. So I hope you do your kindness challenge, and I hope you enjoyed reading our story today. This story will actually be for today and tomorrow, since there's 2 activities that go along with it. So you can listen to it 1 time or 2 times. I hope you have a great day of learning. I miss you very much, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!